Hi, I'm Eddie Obeng, and this is How. Daily, I bring you a different way to look at your world, but more importantly, to act within your world. Looking at it is great. Acting on it gives you results. Today, I want to share with you a way of looking at all the different people engagement tools, performance enhancement tools, possibility exploration tools I've been sharing with you. You've probably picked them up from my books, but it's important to understand how they all fit into this new world model. It's called EddPEts, and it's my attempt to try and explain how to look at the world differently so that you can pull the right tools together for what you need to do. So let's jump on Cube and have a look at what we can find. So on Cube, this is my favorite cubicle for teaching from. It's just great, but being Cube, of course, as you know, the sun is always shining. Look up there, it's clouds. Ooh, lovely fluffy clouds. Okay, so what do we have? We have an opportunity to rethink how all these pets fit together, and the way I'm going to do that is take you through a little journey. So if you understand the old world and new world models, you'll know that the idea is very simple. In the old world, traditionally, the sort of inertial forces, the things which kept things the same, were much, much more powerful than the dynamic forces. So the net result of that was that people would, I just scrolled all the way out. I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to zoom back in. And life is just being misbehaving. There we go. That's a bit, isn't that better? That's better. Okay, great. So in the old world, the inertial forces, the forces which kept things the same, were much bigger than the dynamic forces of interaction and scale. The internet didn't move data around at the speed of light and so on and so forth. So traditionally, the pace of change was slower than the ability to learn. So basically, that's what the old world idea is. In the new world, the dynamic activity, the forces, the scale, that overpowers the hierarchies. But in the traditional old world, what we would do is we would do things like we would build hierarchical organizations because we knew quite clearly that if we had a hierarchical organization, one person could guide everyone else into doing what they wanted them to do. We also knew that we could basically do the same thing over and over again. Once you hit the new world, you end up with different situations in terms of strategy which you can deal with. The first is what I would call evolve. Evolve basically means you keep having to make stuff up, invent stuff, and deliver new things in order to survive. So here I've got a mouse which is running its computer by using a human being as its mouse. It's just a bit of silliness. That's evolving. And then here, of course, is dominate, the dinosaur, the massive dinosaur who just basically drives everything before them. So you look around the world, you see these mega global multi-billion pound businesses. They really don't care. They're bigger than governments. They don't take any notice of regulation. So dominate is the other strategy which works. So you can either dance under the feet of the dinosaurs like mammals did, or you can die, which is another strategy, which is you produce something, you sell it off. So that's what we've seen in terms of the way in which we've tried to work together in this world. So why do things slightly differently? Well, one of the things which happens when you hit the new world is you have to reprioritize the way you look at what you learn. See, because the world was more or less the same, most discussion was about what do we do? What do we do? What's the topic? How do we do? How do we do accounts? What do we do? It was the activities, and the same activities year on year. If you want to simplify for a complex world, which is what you need to do, you have to ask the question, why do we act? Why do we do anything which we actually do? And that basically drove the whole idea of trying to work things through differently. If you look at a traditional MBA curriculum, you'll find that every time a new topic comes along, a new problem comes along, a new topic gets created. So right now we'll have AI topics about agentic this and the other. Traditionally, you'd be doing everything from Ansoff through to Boston Consulting Group, through to, I don't know, Goldberg, through to Gould and Campbell, and Hammer and Chapman. But each time a problem came along, they would add another different model, just randomly, just to deal with that. If you understand how the new world works, then you have a completely different concept in your head. What you do instead is you think about it not in terms of this is the latest problem. Here's another thing to think about, another framework. You think about it as I'm evolving. That's all I'm focused on. I'm not dominating. I'm not dying. I'm evolving. So I have to think about why I'm doing stuff, and I'm doing stuff always to invent the future. So departments like the marketing department, which figures out what to do, R&D, innovation, they're about inventing the future. Ensuring results is organizations, which parts of the organization which focus on making sure that we're going in the right direction. So maybe finance, maybe some of the delivery bits, delivering tomorrow, all the project program activities, some of the strategy activities about trying to deliver tomorrow. But some of them will also be about inventing tomorrow. All the human bits, making people work together, teams, the HR, that's all about leading and organizing talent and making sure that the people bring their best skills to work. And then there's another area which is about delivering today, making sure you provide for your customers, your clients, your consumers, what they actually need today. So this is the model which we built the New World activity on. So the New World pet looks a little bit like this. And I'm just summarizing it so that when you see the pets, you can make sense of where they fit in the world. So along the top here are the different areas we've talked about, and it'll be things like invent the future. We'll be looking at things like deliver tomorrow, deliver today, and so on. So those run along the top. And then we've got to think about the key concepts. And some of them you'd have come across, and others you might not have come across. But the key concepts are things like under inventing the future. You might have come across the sparks from the book Who Killed the Spark. You might have come across customs and values, strategic events from my book Putting Strategy to Work. Delivering tomorrow from things like all change and perfect projects. You'd have seen the laws of change. You'd have seen integrated change management. You'd have seen project flocks. Delivering today, you'd have seen from my book MRH, Making Reengineering Happen. You'd have seen also things like eliminating waste, delivering value. You should also have come across from things like The Complete Leader, the whole idea of how do you lead, and then also from books like Soundbites, understanding a little bit about how you make sure that the teams work together and they work in a virtual way. And then from books like Money Making Machine, you'll come across things like sources of money and so on. So the key frameworks, which I'm trying to share with you through this particular How program, tend to fit into these areas. So in terms of things like evolution to match inventing the future, future mapping, we've done bubble diagrams, an area which you probably come across in one of the earlier podcasts. So those are all about inventing the future. Then we've got frameworks which are around delivering tomorrow, the types of change, Red Ant Man, and so on. And then we've got things around delivering today. And finally, we've got the leading organized talent. So it's all the issues like how do you get people to engage, like IDQB, and ensuring results is all about making sure that what you're providing is valuable, things like money-making loops. So the EDD pet is really a way of understanding the whole sort of group of concepts and frameworks into which all the different pets fit. It just helps you make sense of it. Otherwise, you look at these hundreds of pets and go, I don't know what to use. I don't know where I am. And this will actually guide you. So that's EDD pets. It's a useful one to look at so that you can understand where you are, where you should start diving in to look at either concepts or frameworks. So I've been Eddie Obeng. The pet comes from 12 Rules for the New World. So you can have a look at that book. There's a quick guide always. There's also the newsletter, which you can subscribe to. And I shall see you again.